Call to order the Board of Water Commissioners for Monday, March 16th at 5:30 with a quorum being present with one online. Oh, the following, this meeting will be recorded and broadcast over local access channel 8 and through the town website at www.eastham-ma.gov. So we're going to start with public information. We don't have any. And then we're going to move on to approval of fee changes. And if you two would introduce yourselves and tell us about the fee changes. Is the green light on?
There we go.
Yeah.
Hi, Kim St. Aubin, Assistant DPW Director and Water Contracts Manager.
John Ruffley, I'm the DPW Director, and Kim's the brains of the water operations, so she's going to present these changes.
So thank you for having us. These are the same changes we've talked about. We talked about them in October, and then we talked about them a couple weeks ago also. So same as those. The first increase we are suggesting is a 2% increase in water rates. Per our Water Management Act, we should evaluate our rates every 3 to 5 years or so. So a very small increase of 2%. Then it's hard to, last time we increased fees, it was close to 10% and it was kind of a hard hit for people. But if we do it slower at a smaller amount, it's more palatable. We are suggesting that go into place at the August 2026 quarterly bill. I'll be able to put something on the May bill, letting people know your rates will be increasing. The next fee is the water meter fee. Our water meter fee has been $163 since 2016. We purchased Neptune meters at that time. And once we started to run out of Neptune meters, we went back out to bid to get camp strip meters. We bought enough camp strip meters to change all the current Neptune meters and to do the rest of the town. But the price of those meters is, we're suggesting a fee increase to $406.43. I just wanted to make note also that everyone that has a Neptune meter now, you'll get a free camp strip meter because you already either bought or got your meter.
So it's just for new hookups.
Correct. Yep. And we are suggesting that go into place July 1st. That kind of gives me time to let contractors know if they have any quotes out that, that fee is going to change because they usually work that fee into their quote.
So can I ask a question, Kim?
Yeah.
So if you currently have a Neptune meter, when are they automatically being changed out?
We're going to change them out. We're hoping that the DPW, we're going to, set up appointments and change them out.
Okay.
So.
I have a question.
Yes.
On the $406 and change, or how do you get that number? I mean, I can see, purchasing, installing, and maintaining, but is there some factor for net operating income in there for a profit? Are you trying to break even on the cost? How do you get the number?
So if I put, so it's 300 and, let me just look here, sorry. $331 is what we actually paid for each meter. The reason that we came up with $406.43 is we included the software that's used to read them to capture that cost. That fee is going to cost us $11,000 per year for that software. So that's to capture some of that cost.
Okay, I get you. Thank you. I mean, I'm not sure if it's close to what it's actually costing us. It may be costing us more, right? What would your guess on that be? I mean, I'm just not talking about the hardware itself or the software. I'm talking about the people time.
Oh, you mean how much? I think we have fees for installing meters, right? And changing meters.
The installer, so a plumber installs it. So the homeowner pays a plumber for that. We don't install them.
All right, well, it just says that the cost of purchasing, installing, and maintaining has increased. maybe we should take out the word installing. These are
Install.
just-
Mhm.
Okay, so basically the $406 is the cost of the hardware and the software. I
Mhm.
understand. Thank you.
The third fee is a water connection fee. So this would be instituting a one-time water connection fee for new connections to the municipal water system will help offset the cost of expanding infrastructure and equitably distribute system improvement costs among new users. We would like to wait till January 1st to put this fee into place. It would give us a chance to advertise and let people know you have 1 year before this connection fee goes into place to hook up to water to try to capture some more people. We are suggesting a fee of $1,000 for this.
And I'll just add, as you might recall, the Water Enterprise Fund isn't quite self-sufficient now. A couple years ago, when we set that higher fee increase, it was anticipated to cover the cost plus some costs for capital. But then our operating contract increased quite a bit. And as it turns out, our rates, even with this couple percent, are likely to be short. And we think the rates are just about right where they ought to be, but we only have 50% of the town or so connected. So if we had more people connected, then the fees would be generating enough income to offset the operating costs and provide for some capital. And so the theory of the connection fee is if you hold out, for example, say 5 years, you've avoided 5 years of a rate that is supposed to be contributing to capital. And so this is a way to recover people avoiding that cost.
Does the board have any questions or comments?
No.
It's almost a penalty for not connecting sooner than later.
Yeah.
But my view is, yeah, in one sense, it's a penalty, but the other is it's the people who don't connect right away are skirting paying capital expenses for the water system for however many years they wait. And that's what it is. And this is not something, I mean, in the 4 other places I've lived that had town water and town sewer, they had these connection fees if you waited to hook up when it came. It was in a town where town sewer came. If you didn't hook up with sewer for within a year, then you had to pay the fee because of the for capital costs, because you were trying to avoid, maybe not trying, but in fact, you were avoiding paying into capital for it. That was the basis for wanting to do that back in the other towns, and I see that here. I mean, if I just put in a well, I may want to hold off, but as I hold off, other people, my neighbor who hooked up is paying the water fees, which includes some capital improvement fees and so forth, and I, with my new well waiting 5-10 years, would be avoiding that. And so this would be a charge to help try and compensate for the lack of paying for fees to pay for capital expenses.
The alternative.
How long does it take to depreciate that? 7 years?
Depreciate what
The capital. In other words, if we wait 10 years, I don't understand. I mean, I understand the philosophy. I understand the theory, and I understand that it's a standard. I'm just trying to figure out what happens to the guy who waits 10 years. He's paying $1,000 for something that's already fully depreciated.
No. It's continuing capital. Like we're going to have to paint the towers. We're going to have to do repairs to lines. We're going to have to open up roads and do repairs at some point. Like we have a brand new system. So we didn't anticipate a lot of new capital costs in the beginning, but we are trying to make the system self-sufficient so that it can pay for its own reasonable capital costs. I mean, if we have to replace a whole water line, I'm sure we'd have to ask the town for that, but that's what Jerry's talking about.
No, I see it. I understand. I think it's reasonable.
There you go.
Just, so everybody knows, the next big thing, maintenance-wise, capital-wise, is probably the repainting of a tank.
Yeah.
And that's many hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yes.
And so the alternative to not having water rates provide for capital is we go back to the taxpayers and we add it to the tax levy, which in this case might be fair if only 50% of people are connected.
So in terms of this fee and the capacity of vendors to do the work, if people have it lined up to be done before 2027,
It's not
And-
actually done.
if it's not actually complete, if we have 50% of the town that I don't necessarily think.
I mean, I'm sure there's a wait, but I'm sure it's not a year long.
No.
You're saying like if a contractor had a contract with somebody right now, but they hadn't done the work yet, that sort of thing?
Yeah, just thinking about
The
when I hear people talk about trying to get work done and how long it takes for someone to be available to do the work, if a year is sufficient for possibly the volume of people who will want to do it in the next 9 months.
Right. No, I understand that. I mean, I think it's enough time for them.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
They-
it's sufficient based on the window when I did it years ago when it was booming then,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, I think that's
They-
more than reasonable.
More than-
Yeah,
No.
they can do it quickly. Sometimes people say, I want to wait, but then
That's their choice.
That's their choice, yeah.
And it's easier than a sewer connection, so it's not as,
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of
For some.
people are qualified to do it.
Yeah.
And we're encouraging everybody to do it right now before the year's up.
Yeah.
that's-
Before you lose power again.
Yeah, right.
Exactly.
We'd love everybody to just
Just
get hooked up and it'll cost them less and
Yeah. I guess one, Suzanne raised the question, one crazy one, we're finishing the line. There are a few homes down Cable Road that are we giving them any time? I don't know when.
That-
The main will be ready going down. Do they have any
they'll
time?
still have that grace period after.
Will they have a
Yeah.
grace period
Yeah.
of a year?
Yep.
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay.
Um,
So that's a new contract. Yeah.
I will say, I understand the point of having all of the fees, and I will add that if there are people who couldn't afford the hookup before, they probably still can't afford the hookup, and adding the fee isn't going to change the fact that they
But we
couldn't
do have
afford.
help now
Well, we
for
have-
hookups,
Yeah, we have.
which we didn't have, for,
Two different options.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, so it would still go onto the your tax bill.
correct.
And so it's still the understanding of like, well, if you finance it over 5 years or pay it up front, it might still be an economic hardship.
I think
for
it's
somebody.
financed over 15, is it
15
15 or
years.
20, Jeff?
Yeah, I think I asked you
Thank you.
about it and it's still just, I'm just saying that there's people in town who didn't hook up because they didn't have the money to do it, and putting it over 15 years doesn't necessarily.
So how about the housing improvement money that, people can use for roofs and windows? Can they use that for water hookup?
That's a great question. Probably, but
I had one time I had them they reached out to me
Hmm.
to use the loan program because they weren't going to include it in that program. But that was years ago, so I don't know if that's still the case. And those people ended up using the loan program through the town.
but that's an income qualified program. I don't think our loan program is income
No.
qualified. Anyone can do it.
Yeah.
It could also fall under a community fund,
Mhm. Yep.
and that's a 200% AMI, so.
And you're keeping the annual fee, the base fee the same, $125
Yes.
a year?
Yeah.
All right, I guess we'll reiterate that you could have had water if you had a well when the power went out, if that moves anybody to be like, no, it's a
That
great
was
time
nice.
to do it.
That's right.
Yeah, and thank you
So-
for this, because I do think that what's being presented is pretty much the standard of operation, not only for other municipalities, but also for utility companies too. You know, this is pretty standard. This is nothing outside of the scope of how this should be done. So thank you for keeping it appropriate so that we don't have to play catch up. You know, that's when I feel like it becomes
Yes.
a burden on residents is when you spend 10 years not doing anything and then you have to catch up, and that is when you notice it versus like incremental changes that are impactful. So thank you.
All right. Do you need a motion? I move that we approve the water fees as presented.
Second.
Or any discussion? Any more discussion?
One more question.
Yeah.
Was there any consideration to raising the, I guess, the annual fee?
The what fee?
The annual fee?
$125, whatever it was, the
125.
Yeah.
We
I
did,
mean,
Rich, did we evaluate?
Is it because it was so new that we should, when would that in this kind of model, when would that typically be increased? Every other year? Or is there such a thing as typical?
Last year, we increased fees a total of about 10%. That included going from, I think, 90 to 125 as the base. So
Mhm.
we just increased the base
Got it.
last year. So this year is just keeping up with additional costs on the rate.
Makes sense. Thank you.
Call the vote.
Bob,
Yes.
Amy,
Aye.
Jamie,
Aye.
Jerry,
Yes.
and chair votes aye.
Okay,
Thank you.
very
Thank you.
much. Thank you.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
Second. Bye.
Other business or correspondence for the water commissioners?
Oh. I will,
Oh, did we have?
Then,
Okay.
okay, yes. I'll
I
do
make the
vote.
motion reserve. Okay. Now you can call a vote.
Who was the second?
Thank you.
I'll say, oh, Jamie seconded.
I seconded.
Okay, Bob,
Aye.
Jamie,
Aye.
Amy,
Aye.
Jerry,
Yes.
and chair votes aye.
All right.
The water commissioners are adjourned.
So now I will call to order the March 16th meeting of the Eastham Select Board. This meeting will be video recorded and broadcast over local access channel 8 and through the town website at www.eastham-ma.gov. So I do have to do a joke today. So
Should be on the agenda.
where what do animals who've lost their tails do? They go to a retailer.
Oh.
All right.
Like Eeyore.
Somebody laughed at it. It's amazing. Okay.
Jeez.
Yeah, I know. All right. So any
My dog doesn't have a tail.
public any information that is not on the agenda? Anyone from the board? I don't see anyone from the public. Don't see anyone. So we'll move on. Licensing. We have before us two common victular licenses for Eastham Ice Cream Incorporated, doing business as Ben and Jerry's, and First Off Foot Ventures. Foot Off First. Boy, I'm in bad shape. Foot Off First Ventures Incorporated, doing business as Sam's Deli. All the information is in our packet. Any questions or issues? None? Do I hear a motion to approve?
So moved.
Okay, Bob,
Second.
second from Amy. Any further discussion? All right, we'll have the vote. Bob,
Yes.
Amy,
Aye.
Jamie,
Aye.
Suzanne.
Yes.
And Jerry's a yes. So then
And
the
just a
next-
note, Sam's opens on the 26th.
What?
Wow.
Sam's Deli.
Sam's opens, yes.
I'm
No,
not
they're
sure about
opening
Free
soon.
Cone Day. I
Yeah.
forgot to look. What that is.
I'd
Then there's
like to take a minute.
alcohol. Oh, Bob.
just like to take a minute to make sure everybody's, aware, given this meeting is public, what a great job the Donnellys did, who own Sam's Deli, on the FE luncheon that we hosted earlier in the year. So actually last year, but it was all food from Sam's that was completely donated, And I just think everybody really appreciated it.
Mhm.
Yes, I agree. So now the next is the all alcohol off premise license for Foot Off First Ventures doing business as Uncorked Beer and Wine, which is attached to Sam's Deli. As everybody looked at it, do have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the all alcohol off premise license for Foot Off Ventures doing business as Uncorked Beer and Wine.
Or a second?
Second.
Second from Amy. Any further discussion? Okay, we'll have a vote. Bob,
Yes.
Amy,
Aye.
Jamie,
Aye.
Suzanne,
Yes.
and Jerry's a yes. All right, we got that done. Administrative matters. First is the land exchange agreement signing for Nauset Light Beach Road. Jackie, that you, or should I harass Rich for that?
No, I'll do this
Your
one.
time. Okay.
So, basically, we are moving forward with the land exchange. A few years ago, I think it was in 2019, the park allowed us to build Nauset Light Beach Road, the new road on parkland, based on the, promise that we would exchange land with them at a later date. So this land exchange is talking about several parcels that have already passed through town meeting. So they've already passed through a town meeting vote in 2024. Now we're moving to the next step, which is the parcels get assessed for monetary value, and then we can finalize the trade with a piece of legislation that has to go before Congress. So this is, Shayna has been working on this. I've been working on this. So this is at least year 7
Wow.
of probably a 15-year process. When they say it takes an act of Congress, they're talking about this particular land exchange.
Jeez.
So this is really the next step. They're going to assess them, and they have to be of basically
of equal value.
value, because you cannot exchange funds. You're exchanging land, and
And we're exchanging the vernal pools out, a couple of vernal pools and a parcel of land of about 3 acres out in the park near our wells. We are getting Nauset Light Beach Road, and we are getting the Shellfish Shack that's adjacent to the beach salt pond.
Salt Pond, yeah, right there,
Yeah.
Salt Pond Landing, yeah. Yeah. Any further Amy, you have a question? Oh. No questions or anything? Do I hear a motion?
I move that we approve the preliminary land exchange agreement for Nauset Light Beach Road.
There a second from, any discussion? Further discussion? Okay, we'll go to a vote. Bob,
Yes.
Amy,
Aye.
Jamie,
Aye.
Suzanne,
Yes.
and Jerry's a yes. Committee appointments. We have a request to appoint as an alternate Kendra Menard to the Board of Registrars. Kendra is our Assistant Town Clerk.
I move that we reappoint Kendra Menard to the Board of Registrars as outlined in our packet.
Second.
Right, any discussion? We'll go to a vote. Bob,
Yes.
Amy,
Aye.
Jamie,
Aye.
Suzanne,
Yes.
and Jerry's a yes. So there we are. Now we're review of warrant articles.
Before we go to that,
Yes,
under appointments, Linda gave us information about the town elections, and I don't know if we want to put
Yes.
it on our agenda specifically for next week, or if we,
this
It
is
says-
something we have to vote on, right?
I don't know if it's something we have to vote on,
Yes.
but it has to do with.
It's the opt-in.
Yeah,
or
we do have to opt
vote on
in,
Should we
so.
put it on next week's agenda? Do we
Should
have
be on
time?
next week's agenda. This would be pretty,
Yeah, it can't be on this.
pretty rare. Can't be on this.
Yeah,
one.
it
We'll
shouldn't
do
be
it.
long.
We'll put it on next week's agenda, and we will
Just
Vote on-
discuss it then.
times and a discussion on mail-in voting. All right. Review warrant articles. What I'd like to do is we can go through all of them if we want to quickly, although we are going to go through zoning next week because they have their meetings later this week. I don't know if we have any questions. If anyone does, we can do it on Article 2, the budget. But we do not have the school budget and won't get it until I think they vote on it Wednesday this week. So we won't be able to,
And you have a budget hearing on the 23rd.
and there's the budget hearing on the 23rd, a joint meeting with the Finance Committee. The others we can go through and discuss. The Finance Committee, I know, voted their some recommendations on 4 or 5 warrant articles. At their last meeting, if we have some that we can quickly go through, that might be a good thing to reduce the length of time we have to spend next week and hopefully maybe avoid a March 30th
Yep.
meeting.
Say no
All
more.
right?
Go for it.
All right. So
So with that, I'll make a motion to recommend Article 1.
there we go. It's good. Article 1. I have just one question, on Article 1. The bottle fees and stuff. Is there money still in there while we're doing? Because we're not doing that
Right.
anymore.
No, if there's anything left over, it closes to the general fund at the end of the year. This is just keeping it active in case it starts up again.
As it starts up again. Okay. Any other
Second.
questions? I
We
think we
seconded
had-
this.
Yeah, we had the second.
Okay.
All right. Any further discussion?
Low hanging fruit.
All right, we'll go. Bob,
Yes.
Amy,
Aye.
Jamie,
Aye.
and Suzanne,
Yes.
and as is Jerry, a
You want
yes.
motion
Okay,
and
article,
second
let me,
before.
I gotta
No.
find my articles here. Hold on a minute.
So we're gonna skip.
I think
All
we're
of
gonna skip
2.
I think we'll skip all of 2. Let me take a look just to make sure.
We
Well, the
could
collective
maybe-
bargaining, we could. I
Okay.
mean,
Oh, collective bargaining, we can do
2B.
2B.
Make a motion to accept to
Recommend.
recommend to be as written in the warrant.
Second.
Any discussion? We've had lots of discussion on this one. They do a great job. Okay, we'll go to a vote. Bob,
Yes.
Amy,
aye.
Jamie,
Aye.
Suzanne,
Aye.
and Jerry is a yes as well. I think 2C, we might be able to,
D.
Yep.
Okay, so I'll make a motion to recommend to see as written in the warrant.
Second,
Good.
But 2C,
let me look at 2C. Let me give me a
2C
second.
you added since last week. Right?
So 2C is the Water Enterprise Fund budget. And the one thing that's a little bit different here than in the past, it kind of jives with Article 4D. Right now, we have a Water Enterprise Fund, which is active, which is this budget here. We have a Sewer Enterprise, which isn't active. There's no activity, and we don't have a budget for a sewer yet. But our idea is we really want to implement a Water Resource Enterprise Fund, which consolidates the two going forward in the future. So there's some mechanical gyrations you got to go through with the state. They don't just let you take the money from your water enterprise and put it into the new Water Resources Enterprise. There's a whole process. It would make it take 2 years and have extra town meeting votes just to do this. And so to get around all that, what we've proposed is that we fund the entire Water Enterprise Fund budget with existing retained earnings, which means that what's in the fund now will be used up. And then all the water receipts starting July 1 will go into the Water Resources Enterprise Fund so that we're kind of basically inadvertently transferring the retained earnings from one fund to the next. And so that we're ready to go next year when we might have to vote some money for wastewater.
So 2C and 4D are
Kind of linked. Yeah.
companion articles. So, okay. So I have a
If-
motion and a second on 2C. Any further discussion?
I think
I was just going to say, if
Rich,
you
sorry.
saw an earlier version of this article, it was that, and I was funding it with water revenues as opposed to retained earnings. You always have to have a balanced budget, right? So what you would have seen is about, I forget the exact numbers, but if they had $1 million of appropriations, $800,000 of revenue, and $200,000 of retained earnings. Back to our earlier discussion, we're not quite covering our costs.
Gotcha.
Right. All right. Do we have any further questions or discussion? We're ready. If you want to do the vote, will you do a vote? Bob,
Yes.
Amy,
Aye.
Jamie,
Aye.
Suzanne,
Yes.
and Jerry's a yes. Would we like to, well, we can go through the numbers. I don't have to jump. Let me get to my, all right,
2D.
Well, 2D, yeah, we should
well,
talk about,
we
'cause
can,
that's
we
kind of
can,
new.
we can look at the capital.
No. 2D,
2D
which is
is
consider
operating
funding.
budget service enhancements. It's not the
No.
capital.
It's
It's
not
operating.
capital, that's 2D.
So based on our meeting on Wednesday, Jerry, I added it to the warrant to make sure that we had the discussion, and we can talk about this again at the budget hearing, but at least to brief you on why it's here, is we had the discussion of, we had over $1.5 million of requests to be added to the budget that are not in our level services budget. But these two items in 2D represent kind of the priority items. And the discussion was maybe we should let the community decide. But you guys haven't decided yet either. So I thought I'd put it in this warrant so you could focus in on it and decide whether you want to include this in the warrant or not, or some of them or none of them.
All right, so these are the,
Add council and aging program staff, add recreation department program staff, expand online permitting townwide, increase funding to preschool tuition program.
those are the five, those are the four items that, if we want, they're in the warrant. They're four separate items and they would require, if town passes that, a town meeting, it would require an override vote in the May 20th election, outlining each one of those with the amount of how much
Yep, it's right in the warrant.
it's in the warrant, how much it's going to add to the median household income tax.
Dollars.
Okay. So this is for our consideration. We could include this article in the warrant. And the town could decide as a lump to add this or not.
No, they're in a list. So you could take any one of those items in a list
So we could,
on your own, and they're all going to be separate questions at the ballot as well.
On the
So-
ballot, but they're not separate questions on town meeting.
Well,
Yeah, they are
can
because it's a
make-
list.
You
so
could-
basically we would call a vote for 2D item A,
Right.
2D item B,
Correct.
2D item C.
Or, well, I think the approach, it's up to the moderator, but normally he says, does anybody want to hold out any of these line items?
Right. I,
So do you want it as an article in
I-
the warrant?
my concern, yes, I want it as an article because I like the idea of the people of the town being able to make the decision for themselves. I do worry this is gonna bog us down a lot at town meeting. Because I feel like these are the things where they're an opinion piece, right? Like this is someone's opinion on whether or not we should fund this. And sometimes at town meeting, I think we get a little lost in those articles. And so I think if we decide to bring this to town meeting, we should just have a very clear presentation for it. So when you read the article, whoever presents this is going to have to do a little work on the front end with an explanation to follow up, I think.
Well, an explanation in each one of them, what it is
Right.
and how much it is. Yeah, what tends to happen at meetings, not necessarily dumb, smaller dollar amounts are are
Right.
easier to understand,
Right.
and therefore
Yeah.
you get more discussion on them.
Right.
I'm in favor, Jamie, I'm in favor of I'm not going to die on the sword for this, but of giving people the choice,
Absolutely.
here's where we're at. I mean, we keep a level budget, and people come up and say, why would we do this or that? We give them the option here, and
To go outside the scope.
they go,
of
you
normal
voted
budget.
yes, my taxes went up. Well, you voted yes on this, and because you wanted it. I'm not necessarily someone, my own personal view would be to add this, and I would have no recommendation from us. It's up to the town. I would vote no, I would not give a recommendation. So on this, they can decide what they want to do. We decided to have a level services budget. Here it is, and these are options you can have, but I would abstain
As a
from
board.
it as opposed to voting yes, but I would not vote no in putting them on the
Right,
budget.
right.
My recommendation would be put them on the warrant. My recommendation would be I would abstain from a recommendation because it's up to the town.
I mean, all of these are up to the town, right? You could.
Yeah, everything is, but
It's-
this one, this is a little, this is
Stuff that
something
we
new.
chose not to put in the budget.
Right,
Right.
right. This is something,
I get
I
that.
don't-
Yeah, okay.
I don't remember seeing anything like this in the town meetings I have attended before.
I like
This-
it.
this new?
Yeah, I like the transparency of this. I mean, I think it's a good article. I think,
I think it's a common thing in a lot of communities.
yeah.
Like
They take
these
this
do it, but
piecemeal
I haven't
approach.
Seen it here. Maybe it's,
Orleans
maybe
has
I
done it
missed,
like-
but I haven't seen it here.
I do think, though, that if you defer your recommendation, if you say you're not going to make one as a board or whatever,
It's
We
Jerry.
heard it.
people may ask you at town meeting, and then you're going to have to say anyway.
I'll say what it is, yeah.
And just to throw out the other alternative, similar to how we did the addition of 4 police officers last year. If you could choose that it's too much for this year because we've got a general override anyway, and we could have this in an off year when we are anticipating not having a general override.
Right.
Yeah, I
We
think
could
what can
delay this.
happen.
Bob?
Yeah, I think what can happen with this is it's early on in the warrant. I wonder if people will vote yes on it. People tend to vote yes on the things that we present to them because it's a very progressive town. And then they may realize later in the warrant that they've extended themselves beyond the tax increase that they had hoped for. So that's my only concern. I mean, I like the transparency of it too. And the other thing that really a question is, couldn't there be 10 other line items on here? I mean, I know these must be the largest, but are these all the ones that are over, let's say, $20,000? There must have been 50
No, there's-
These are-
requests that were denied.
No,
They're not the
Yeah.
largest. We've got
Hmm.
some much larger ones that we elected, since they're large, and they weren't as high a priority. These have been looked for at least several years,
yeah.
each of these items.
Okay, so that's why you've included them as opposed to anything else.
And some of the larger, in second and third thought on some of those bigger ones, it's like we hadn't really fleshed them out as well. And so before we go to bring them to town meeting, we really wanted to get a discussion with the select board and the finance committee, make sure everyone's in agreement, or at least we know where the points of disagreement would be, type of thing.
Yeah, I'm concerned that people will vote for it early on without knowing that what their tax increase is actually going to be with
I-
the things that we outlined as level services budget. That's all.
But it comes after, it does come after
after
the
the budget.
operating and capital
Yeah.
budget.
And they're gonna get the whole warrant. I
Not
mean,
the
it's not
capital.
like this is being unveiled to them one thing at a time. They get their warrants well in advance. Most people have read through it and know everything that's coming before them.
Yeah.
So-
I think it's really relevant to what we really said earlier, which is we've got to make sure that there's a clear, I think Jamie, you said this, there's got to be a clear description of what's going on here relative to the level services budget we have already proclaimed that we present to you folks. That's all. I mean, it's got to be very clear that this is
Yeah.
above and
Increase
beyond.
the operating.
Yeah, I think so. And also, Bob, it's 2D, so you have 2A, which is the budget, which will include basically the override that we need generally. It will have the education component in it. Then you go to 2B and you get the 1.575 million need for the collective bargaining. So they would have that one, knowing how much there is. And then to C, I don't see, what is C? I forget.
No.
Water.
See, what-
Oh, the water, that's not related. And then you come to this. So the only one I see that's generally missing is the capital.
But the capital plan,
Operating.
we fund out of free cash, so that
That's
do-
not an override.
that's not
Right.
impacted by
Yeah, no,
the override.
so it comes in consecutive order with those things. And again, people receive the whole warrant. It's not like they show up to town meeting and we unveil each
Right.
one consecutively and they haven't seen the other items that are coming up afterwards. So I
My,
think
my other
Okay,
concern, and I'll just be, kind of blunt about it, is that, we chatted with people, chatted with Rich about this earlier today. What I'm really concerned about is how can we demonstrate that we've really tried to hold the line on so many things.
I think this article does that though.
Well, we got to make sure that we are doing that explanation so clearly. But it just strikes me that I wanted to try to find another $1 million that we could take out. And we're here trying, and just for consideration. I'm not saying that we would have agreed to it, but I'm wanted to approach this meeting looking at other areas where we could possibly find some money. And so it concerns me. It doesn't concern me that we're giving people the choice. It concerns me that they'll vote for it and they're going to get a tax bill that they didn't expect.
I mean, I don't know how more transparent
Yeah.
this can be.
We can say it, this will add so many dollars to your tax bill.
36.
Each one of them, it's in there.
I think the only reason the article exists is because you all decided to not add these things to the budget. So when you don't add something, it's cut. Dorothy paid for 2 years of this programming, for instance, out of a grant. The grant isn't going to continue. So we're going to be cutting something that has been provided for 2 years. So that's the basis for this.
And we
If
didn't-
people don't want to do that, then they can vote no. And it actually gives them something to vote no on that won't hurt the whole operating budget.
Right. It also, for example, the preschool tuition, if we don't
Exactly.
pass this, it's going to drop the amount of funding that I would get for my child will drop.
No,
because
it
No,
won't,
it just
no.
won't
You
increase.
don't,
It won't
you won't let them in?
Well, we,
No.
right, we
Goes to
maxed
zero.
out last year.
Out.
It doesn't max out.
We were
No.
gonna discuss, Jackie had given us some options on what we would do with the program since we didn't have enough money to fully fund everybody.
Right.
And we had wanted to add it as to the town meeting warrant. So we didn't get to that discussion of if this does not pass, what is then the policy
So
decision?
this year, it's very similar to the COA line. This year, we moved money from another place to fund it. So we don't have that for next year. So this is the shortfall is $75,000. Now, if we don't spend it, it gets held for the next year, but
But the options would be you have a strict cutoff and you don't let more people participate and they get nothing and some people get something, or everybody gets to participate, but the amount of the subsidy goes down.
And we just didn't make that decision
Didn't
yet
make
because we wanted to try and fund it first.
that's correct.
So we need to wait to see what the town decides.
So it really
makes
is a legitimate choice because I think, again, these are
I think-
service and enhancements that people are used to, so they need to vote. Do you want to, what do you want to do on
I
that?
think it's great. I think it's important for people to see this.
And I think on all of these, Jackie made it a good point. In some form or fashion, each of these items was piloted with a grant or some other funds to get kind of a proof of concept, make sure it works. And in case of the COA, that's probably the best example. It's been funded for 2 years with a grant and with donations, and it's been very well received and popular. And so if it's really that popular and that well received, then people will vote to continue it. Or we certainly understand if they don't. But
And if you, I mean, you can explain them, we can explain, I mean, I can explain these four if you want me to talk about it too. I mean, I think that there's, I like them because it does show that we didn't just put everything in the budget.
Right.
And there's many more like this, but these are the four that really had, as Rich said, they had piloted well. We just got online permitting. We just expanded it last year to a few different divisions and people love it. They love being able to pay online. And so I don't know. It's all
this-
useful, but it's all
this-
not essential.
But in this regard, the way you described it, Jackie, it's a level service,
Yes.
right? So I think that explanation is spot on if you want to include it. I mean, the whole idea of we didn't put it in the budget. In fact, we looked for areas to cut.
Yes.
So I'm fine, again, I'm fine with the transparency. It's all about how it's presented.
Okay. Well, you can always advise us on, how you would want to present it.
Yeah, okay, so what we have before us at the moment is, I think, have I had a motion on this? I don't think so.
No.
We have Article 2D.
Yes, Rich?
I was going to suggest, Jerry, maybe your decision-making changes once we get the final results and have our budget hearing. So I'm glad you had this good discussion, but maybe defer a decision until after the budget hearing. That's up to the board.
That's
But do we,
fine with me, whatever,
it sounds like we want to keep it in the warrant.
if you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We would, if we keep it, yeah, it would, do you want, I would like to keep it in the warrant to have people decide whether whatever potential disasters or good things happen on our budget hearing, but to just have it there and they have a chance to decide. I think it gives citizens a little bit more skin in the game in the sense of how it works, and they have a decision to decide whether whether to fund these things or not, and they have a vote. And I think my view is Rich, I would just put it in,
Okay.
but,
We're gonna vote on whether or not to recommend during the budget hearing.
well, we could do the recommendation during the budget, in the budget hearing. That's probably a good idea, Suzanne.
You'll also get the finance committee's opinion.
Opinion on it as well, because they're going to be here and their view, I mean, I'm sitting there in finance committee meetings and they know that I said the select board, speaking for you, and I may have spoken out of turn, will be expecting you to present your recommendations on the warrant to us. So we have your advice as we go along with ours. So I guess we can postpone the whole thing and just
Mhm.
put it on the warrant and then do the recommendation.
Well, I think what Bob's saying is true. I'm sorry to interrupt. I'm
Go,
really
no,
sorry.
go ahead, Jim.
Bob's saying is true. If you're going to do one financial article now, why? I mean,
Right.
they really, you should be discussing them together and
Right.
making your opinions together because that makes a lot more sense given the context of this year's budgeting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you want, okay, so should we hold off on 3 then?
No, but I think 2D.
We'll wait on 2D and
I
then,
think it doesn't
Oh,
hurt. to
3,
hold
yeah.
off.
Do you want
It
them to
doesn't
vote
hurt to
on?
hold off on 2D, but I think we've got a united front with this team on 2D. But I'm very curious to see what the finance committee would say about how this is laid out as well.
Yeah. All right, we'll put that one, because we're gonna have to vote on a lot of things on the 23rd.
to take your papers out of order.
Okay, no,
So the capital plan is a little different, as you say, because we are funding it with free cash, so
right, and the finance committee voted
to recommend it already.
unanimously to recommend 3A and also 3B, but
Okay,
the 5-year capital
one of them is a plan,
plan and the other is the actual
is to fund,
funding expenditures.
um,
I have a question on that one, a little question on that one, but So let's do 3A. Anybody have any comments on 3A, the 5-year capital improvement plan? This is one of those things where if it's on the plan, we don't have to spend it, but you can't do it unless it's already on the plan.
Would you
Are
like?
you right on that, Rich?
Well, there's no money associated with adopting the plan.
Yeah,
It is just a
The
plan.
plan.
it's just the
All right.
plan.
So I move that to recommend 3A. Accept 5-year capital improvement plan, seconded by
Second, any further discussion?
And I
Oh,
actually,
Bob?
Question on this.
Oh, wait a minute, time out. So the question, who had a question? Rich. Oh,
Rich.
well, you let Bob go first. Bob,
oh, he was gonna vote. Did he have a question or?
he did, yeah.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, with respect to free cash, such a note on this, is there some typical free cash source that rolls over to the next year? How do we get this free cash from? Is there a typical 3 to 5 line items that provide the free cash that we're so dependent upon? Or is it completely random? How does it work?
Oh, it does change a little bit from year to year as to where the savings are. There's a couple accounts that we do purposely over budget because they are highly sensitive to lots of different things, lots of different factors are more volatile than others. So, and it also depends on, in this case, this was a very good year, this past fiscal year that generated this free cash because nothing bad, so to speak, happened. Unlike this year where we have a blizzard that we know we're going to have year-end transfers from savings and other accounts. So it's very unusual in this last year that we had a lot of savings. But most accounts are pretty nominal. They're $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 of savings amongst departments. The biggest savings are in our health insurance, which was purposeful because we knew we were adding 4 new police officers. So those alone has the potential of adding about $100,000 of costs. So that was kind of factored in. Plus, we know there's a long-term 10% average trend rate on medical inflation. So we're kind of protecting ourselves against that. And then, of course, our energy budget is a little bit over budgeted because we have a contract that's expiring this year, and we're expecting that to go up quite a bit in the future. So those are the 2 big ones. And then the other big one that we had, which is very unusual, the timing on some debt service. We had to budget some debt service money. I think it was almost $400,000, but we ended up not using it because of the timing from when the State Revolving Loan Fund, the SRF, actually issued the loans, altered our debt service schedule by a year. So we had about $400,000 of debt service that we ended up not having to pay, but at the time we
Got it.
expected to have to. So
How much
the
free
answer is,
cash? Yeah.
And then another one that we could have year to year, probably not this year because of the snow and ice and everything, but like the reserve fund, that's $200,000. We keep $200,000 in the reserve fund in case we need a transfer and only the finance committee can transfer that money. If we don't have anything bad happen, then that rolls over too.
but
How much free cash has rolled over this year and how much have we already allocated?
I'm sorry, say that again, Bob.
Well, we're using free cash that was that was available to us that we did not spend in the prior year, correct?
No, so we usually maintain a certain level of free cash that we don't spend. It's part of our reserves. What we do spend is free cash that's generated in the prior fiscal year.
Right.
So to your
Okay.
earlier question, your summary of your earlier question is, I think we talked earlier how we budget local receipts at about 85% of the actual. So if everything, is the same, we'll have 15% more local receipts than actually come in than what we've budgeted. So that that savings becomes free cash. So that's somewhat in the order of magnitude of $800,000 to $1 million, depending on the year. And then on the other side, we've got expenditures. And I mentioned a couple of the big ones that generate savings, but typically in a typical year, we would anticipate having about a 3% savings on our expenditure budget. And that 3% savings is probably around $1 to $1.2 million a year. So savings on our local receipts and savings on our department expense budgets is how free cash is generated. It's usually about
Right.
$2.5 million or so a year.
Okay, so do we have a handle on how much free cash we have available this year for this budget and how much we've already allocated?
Yes. So we've roughly, because I don't have it right in front of me, but roughly I think we've allocated $2,410,000 and we have about $2,500,000 some odd dollars available to us.
And that gets certified, officially by the state every year
Correct.
in the summertime.
So
In
what
the
you
fall.
don't spend gets recertified, basically.
Right. Okay. So,
So I really, I've said this 100 times. I like the way you do this with free cash. We don't get ourselves into a bind, 1, 2, X number of years down the road. And we have a capital budget that we're able to fulfill. Promises can be kept. My only concern is, have we looked at this from a standpoint of how could we find money from this free cash that's not putting ourselves in any true risky situation for capital down the road? In other words, is there a gap is there in our favor between how much free cash we really have or expect to have versus how much we've already allocated? Is there a way to steal from free cash, if you will, that's the wrong word, in order to lower the tax burden?
Right. So
We,
we start this process over. It starts over every year. Every year is independent of each other. So you're correct. There are ways to tighten up and generate less free cash. So, for example, using my simple examples of we budget 85% of our actual local receipts. We could say, let's budget 95% of our actual receipts, and that 10% you'd pick up, and therefore you wouldn't have to raise property taxes for the amount of that 10%. That's probably, a couple $100,000, $300,000, $400,000 tops. We generate about 3% savings on our budgets, departmental expense budgets. We could target something lower. The Standard & Poor's bond rating recommendation is 5% plus. Eastham, we kind of decided was a good range for us was about 3%. You could have a policy that says, well, target 1% savings. So, you're budgeting tighter, then you'll generate less free cash.
Mhm.
And then the impacts follow all from there. So we won't have the free cash. So now we need to do what some of our neighboring towns do and do bond issues to borrow for routine capital items.
which is
So
what
I
we used to
understand, I
do.
understand the risk on this, but I'm asking you a different question, right? I'm asking you, how much would we be able to take from free cash and put forward into a situation where the tax rate is lower without putting ourselves in a situation that you would consider to be
I don't
risk?
think we could.
But,
I don't
we
think we
can't,
could.
because it's not what free cash is 1 year. You cannot predict. If you're cutting the budget, the free cash is going to go down. And as it goes down, it gives you less for the next year. So it's not, if you want to take free cash and fund the operating budget,
You're
that's
setting yourself up.
very
for failure.
dangerous, because you can only survive that year, and then the next year you're still going to have
Yeah, I think
the
Right.
problem.
that's
That's
Bob's
why we use
question.
it for capital.
The other
Yeah.
side, the opposite of
Yeah.
Bob's question is right. So you could theoretically use free cash to subsidize your operating
operating
budget and
budget.
raise less taxes,
But-
but it's a one-time fix, and so you don't.
Right.
Yeah.
So the standard rule, and it's actually in our financial management policies, is that we will not use one-time sources to fund recurring expenses. Coming back full circle to the override question, why do you ask for an override? Because these are things that we expect to reoccur. These are costs, and either we want to continue paying for them, and if we can't or don't want to, then we would not do that. But
And as we did last year, we had a shortfall on the school. We didn't want to do an override. We didn't want to add to an override, or the year before, so that we just used free cash to cover that debt,
'Cause it was
knowing that we would have to find a place for it in the next calendar year. So it postpones things. You can postpone things using free cash, but they tend to just snowball, because then
On
you're
you.
just not keeping up.
Right.
I
Which
get
is-
all of that. And again, I'm a fan of the way Rich does it. But what I'm asking is, was there any delta in there? Was there any room to maneuver? And I guess what I'm hearing is you don't think there is.
Well, if there was, we
not.
would have used it already, which I think he's done this year towards capital,
I,
not towards operating.
Well,
not,
I understand that too. Why would we do it for true one-time expenses rather than anything that's an ongoing,
Right.
It's just not a smart move at all. Okay, well, I'll let it go, and I'm done with the questioning. Thank you.
well, I have just one question looking at the funding the capital budget, 10 C, is it? No, I just had it and now I lost it.
For our-
10C, the intersection improvement and
Yep,
upgrades.
so I did,
What's in that? And I preface that with, we had a significant study done on how much it was gonna cost on Bridge and Herringbrook, and we put in all-way stop, and that seems to work, and it's significantly cheaper, and I don't know if that's a possibility to look at here. I know people yelled at me about the all-way stops, but they don't anymore, but whatever.
no, it's a good question. Did cause me to follow up. So as you recall, this is a big project, I think, of Arts back several years ago, and it was a priority for the board. And I think we had 13 different intersection projects that we wanted to address. So this was an attempt to start funding those projects. But at this point, we've have engineered and construction cost estimates for two. Bayview and Bridge Road at the corner there, over the bridge.
Oh, yes.
And
yeah.
we have a construction cost estimate of about $120,000 for that. That's just realigning it so it kind of is straightened down a little bit and has a little bit of stormwater work, but there's some sensitivities there because a lot of environmental issues with the marsh and the beach. And then the other one that is fully designed is Kingsbury and Herringbrook.
Mm.
And so that has a much lower construction cost estimate. There's not a lot that needs to be done there. So that is an area that could, we don't need the full, at the time we were just carrying estimates of 250. An estimate of probably about 200 would be sufficient for this year. And in talking to the DPW today, the other 11, I believe, or no, not 10, because we got one done. So the other 10 that remain, they think a lot of it is site issues, sight lines with clearing back brush, making sure people haven't encroached on the easement for the roadway, and contacting those people and getting fences and brush trees moved back. So on the 5-year plan, I think we can reduce the amounts in years 2, 3, and 4. And on this one in particular, we could reduce from 250 to a little under 200. If you want to move forward with the two projects that have been engineered and are ready to go.
Mhm.
But if we approve the 250 and you don't use the 250, it just goes back.
Then we will close it out and we'll be done.
But it would have no effect on
The
the
overall,
tax rate.
right.
Oh, because it's free cash.
This is a good use of free cash.
So I understand, I'm not arguing, I'm just asking, I'm looking for ways.
Yeah, I know. So is Bob.
Everybody's looking, well, yeah, and so are you,
Yes.
and so is Rich. I don't think the three people to my right would disagree with that either. We try and look and, we level service budget. That's what we've done. So, okay, that's all I had. So I think we did not have a vote yet on 3A, did we?
No.
Nope.
So
Talking about it.
I gummed up the presses, so
But we had
There's a
a
motion and a second.
Motion and a second on 3A, which is the 5-year plan. Any further discussion on that? We'll go to a vote. Bob,
yes.
Amy,
Aye.
Jamie,
Aye.
Suzanne,
Yes.
and Jerry's a yes.
Okay. And then I move
Pass that's 5-0.
recommend item Article 3B, approve and fund the capital budget.
Second.
Yeah,
Have any?
my only discussion piece, Rich, is, and Jackie, do whatever we can to try and cut the cost of 10C, because I think that's one we can cut. All right, any other discussion?
Yeah, Jackie has a.
Piece of good news.
Right?
So the little project that could, our Route 6 program
Yes.
has now officially been accepted onto the Transportation Improvement Plan for 3031.
Ooh,
Wow.
So we are now we were an official project last year, but now we're an official project with construction funding pending. So if we're ready, 3031,
And they'll pay for
And
it.
They'll
that's
pay for
the
it.
300,000 is
So hence the
Design.
$300,000 in design, that's now we're trying to get ready for 3031.
Yeah, listen, that one we have to pay, yes.
So we also just received some funding from, no, the seasonal communities was for Main Street, sorry.
But we also, since we're talking and making announcements, does impact the capital plan. I think I've told you, updated you before, that we're seeking funding for facility maintenance jobs. We did just get awarded $250,000 for a HVAC project at the police station. And so, it's
That's-
good that we have these recurring amounts going into facility maintenance and repair. So we're trying to get caught up on that deferred maintenance. So.
Yeah.
That's great.
Right
All right, do we have any further discussion on 3B? Article 3B. All right, we have a motion and a second. We'll go to a vote. Bob,
Yes.
Amy,
Aye.
Jamie,
Aye.
Suzanne,
Yes.
and I'm a yes. All right, 3B. Now we take a look. I don't think,
On to the next one. On to the what do other financial items.
yeah,
There's just transfer.
Oh,
4A, 4B, let's take a look at 4A.
Motion to recommend 4A.
Second?
All right. 4A, or the other thing, these are the like stabilization fund and the OPEB, injured duty. Those are all things we put together to try and have a resource that it doesn't. So we have some funds to pull and pay for, so it doesn't go up. Our operating budget won't keep going up and down.
Jerry, I think Amy.
Amy?
Yeah, just
a
one
question?
thing. No, just to point out, item J, we're getting off very well with that amount. I think that's
Library roof
I mean-
repairs?
No promises, though.
Yes, let's
but
hope.
there was talk that it would be a lot more than that.
Lot
So
more, yes.
I'm
Like a
happy to
whole
see
new
it
roof.
only. I went down the list and I saw library, and then I went over and I was like,
And it may still be additional cost. We don't know, but I'm hoping that, so far, so good.
I wonder how today went over there.
What's PFAS remediation? Is that just the wells to our test wells to see what we have and so forth?
Yeah.
DEP now requires us to test for PFAS in more locations, so it's doing some more wells, expanding it.
Anyway, how far we go?
And if we
Okay,
have any issues, then we need money to remediate those issues. It might be connecting someone to town water, for example, would be the easy one.
yeah, understood.
all right. You had a motion.
We have a motion, we have a second. Any further discussions on this one?
So none of these would have been in the operating plan?
Mm-mm.
No,
Okay. So this is not capital, but it's one-time expenses?
right? Usually these are things that are select board or strategic plan priorities, or sometimes smaller things that are just happen to be an occurrence in one particular year. So, at risk of having a deeper discussion, the biggest ticket item here that's not a transfer to reserve funds is housing programs for 500,000. That's because we want to continue the lease to locals program, which has been successful. And
Right.
we now have under seasonal communities the opportunity to do year-round deed restrictions. So we think that's a great way to preserve with our existing housing stock, home ownership opportunities. So we need some money for that. And it does kind of jive to one of the questions on the CPA surcharge reduction. That, some people are concerned that there's a reduction of CPA funds that could be used for housing, but we're trying to put in our own money to kind of offset that. And this money isn't restricted by
Right.
CPA restrictions either.
And of course, the stabilization funds are something that, Rich and I and the finance committee all think is really important to have. So when we have free cash, we put them there.
And I guess one more thing, just to I think you all know this, but the amount going into the wastewater stabilization fund represents the amount of short-term rental receipts that we do not budget in the operating budget. It's been intentionally preserved to be used for debt service of wastewater, but in the intervening years, we're putting in the stabilization fund so that when we onboard and commission a plant, before it takes a couple years for the rates to come in. You need some funds to do that. So this wastewater stabilization fund is going to protect the taxpayers and the tax rate from having to pay for plant costs when there's no rates coming in.
And I think under Article 9A in line, last year's warrant, we did a very good job of explaining why we need all these various stabilization funds, why we're using short-term rental tax for wastewater and not to pay for the operating budget, why we're doing some of these things. So I can recycle that for this year.
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, I think people will just need to hear it again. Okay.
Yeah, and the OPEB funds, we put that in, that we also, we are allowed to put in certain it goes into different investments, so we can hopefully grow a little more for it to eventually, this is trying to eventually pre-fund this stuff.
It's in a trust and it is fully invested like a pension plan would be invested. We've had some pretty good returns. So
Yeah.
we've been, trickling a few bucks here and there, but the investment returns have really propped it up a little bit. So we're still many years away, but at least we're making progress.
And the stabilization fund, I think, was something that Standard & Poor's would like to see to potentially increase our bond rating.
Yes. Now, at this point, because of our level of debt, no surprise to everybody that we have got a lot of debt because of the water project and wastewater. The only way we could offset that to get the final step of a AAA would be to have more reserves. But so there's that, but there's also, and this isn't necessarily from school money, but we're trying to get to the point where we can have within our unreserved stabilization fund enough money to use for the schools to offset perhaps a 1-year increase or a 2-year increase because of special education costs. So we want to spike the tax rate for a one-time occurrence if it's just going to go down, and could be a potential use for this.
Mhm.
It's thicker.
All right, did we get him up? I guess-
Motion and second.
Motion and second.
About to
Any
vote.
further discussion? All right, vote Bob,
Yes.
Amy,
Hi.
Jamie,
Aye.
Suzanne,
Yes.
and Jerry is a yes. 4A. 4B is adopt the municipal water infrastructure investment fund.
Okay. I make a motion to
Which-
recommend 4B.
Second.
Rich, do you want to tell us about
Now,
it?
can you give us clear a little bit more about this one?
So as you'll recall with the wastewater plan, we had a funding plan. Part of that funding plan was to minimize the impact on our taxpayers, was to reduce the CPA surcharge from 3% to some other smaller percent. And as it turns out, that amount is 1.25%. So 4B is partnered with 4C. They kind of go hand in hand. They don't have to, but the theory was that 4C has a reduction of the CPA surcharge from 3% to 1.75%. And 4B is introducing a 1.25% surcharge for a different fund. The infrastructure investment fund is to fund about $600,000 a year of debt service for wastewater. And that's coming at the expense of the CPA surcharge. So we're kind of reprioritizing right now we have an overall surcharge of 3% on property taxes, all going to the CPA program. And this would represent a reprioritizing of that 3% and splitting it between CPA and wastewater.
And it would basically have no change on the tax rate, because you're just taking, instead of having it go to CPA, some of it goes
The
there and
3%
some of it goes to the
surcharge, yeah.
wastewater fund.
And following that through, it saves on the tax rate because you're not having to appropriate the extra $600,000 on regular property tax.
Right.
And now the opposition of that, you'll see that there's
2 votes.
On
the finance
C.
committee hasn't voted on this yet, but and 4C, the community preservation committee wasn't unanimous. And Affordable Housing Trust recommendation is unanimous, but it's a little unusual in that they didn't recommend yes or no. They just voted not to oppose.
Right.
There's
So-
abstain
But
also.
that was,
I don't know if they-
that was
that's the
before
opposite.
there was an official warrant article. That was before there was an official warrant article, though. I mean, when we
True.
voted, it was January, I think.
So,
Well, yeah,
so their point is, and I have it here in the
Revote it?
summary, is that,
So
you know,
not-
the opposition would be,
It's our next meeting.
oh, my wrong page, okay.
Better.
Yeah, we might
So
not-
it's largely resolves that, you know, people are concerned that there's less resultant revenue in the CPA fund, which might affect open space and might affect housing programs. So obviously you're $600,000 less going to CPA because if that's how much we're transferring over. But there'd also be a foregone match from the state, which would be about 140,000 on average a year. So, you know, we are foregoing about $140,000 of state revenue that would go into the CPA otherwise. Kind of how I explain that to the folks that I talk to them is, well, as each year goes by, the tax levy goes up, 3% of a bigger number becomes a bigger number. And so probably not every year, but perhaps say in 5 years, you could come back and revisit it. And if our plan for wastewater only requires $600,000,
Go back.
several years from now, we can go back and start putting it back to
start
CPA.
increasing the amount that goes to CPA. Yeah. Um,
That's a safer way to go with our
Part of the
wastewater
trust
planning.
meeting Before the warrant goes to print. Oh, shoot.
Bob, I didn't hear what you said.
Talk.
I just think that's a safer way to go with the expenses upcoming with wastewater.
Okay.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
'cause it looks weird.
Can I make a suggestion for the Affordable Housing Trust? We don't have a meeting before it goes to print on the official amount, because we didn't even know the amount that it was going to be. Rich said about half and half. So it's actually less than that
Right.
now. Maybe hold the Affordable Housing Trust recommendation to town meeting. And then we'll have a
Right.
meeting before that.
They can have.
And
So just, so in the printed warrant, it would say, well, it would
At town
have
meeting.
had Affordable Housing Trust, but the recommendation at
town meeting. Yeah.
It's a good idea.
Yeah, that would we,
Because I think Jamie's right. It's a little confusing not to oppose.
Yeah.
right.
A lot of negatives.
Okay, that's fine.
And
Okay.
the less confusion at town meeting, the
Right.
better.
Right.
All right, so
Okay, so there's
I have a motion
4B.
and I have a second on adopting not
Oh, yeah.
adopting I'm recommending on the recommendation for 4B. Any further discussion? All right, Bob,
Yes.
Amy,
Aye.
Jamie,
Aye.
Suzanne,
Yes.
and Jerry's a yes. So that is, our recommendation is to approve at 5-0.
And I'll make a motion to recommend Article 4C.
Right,
Second.
4C is the companion to reduce the CPA surcharge from 3% to 1.75%.
Do you have a second and a motion?
We have a motion second. Any further discussion? We've talked about this pretty much, but anything else? Go to a vote. Bob,
Yes.
Amy,
Aye.
Jamie,
Aye.
Suzanne.
Yeah.
And I'm a yes as well, surprisingly. Okay, so let's see, 4D. 4D is the companion to
Adopt water resources enterprise.
which is the companion to I think 2C.
It's to establish an enterprise fund.
Right, it's the fund we want going forward where both wastewater and water are consolidated instead of having separate funds.
Right. This would not be this has no tax consequence. It's just establishing the fund and then the receipts would go into this fund, both wastewater and water receipts.
Uh,
Any further discussion,
Did
Suzanne?
we do a motion?
Yeah, we have a motion in
Oh.
a second.
What?
We had a motion. I
Did
thought
it?
we had a motion.
No.
No?
I
All right,
made
a
sure.
motion.
Article 4D, adopt water resources enterprise fund.
Second.
Okay. Any further discussion on this? Okay, let's vote on to recommend this to the town. Bob,
Yes.
Amy,
Aye.
Jamie,
Aye.
Suzanne,
Yes.
and Jerry is a yes. 4E.
I'll make a motion to recommend Article 4E.
Second.
All right,
Jerry?
Rich, can you explain this one a bit for me?
Yeah, I might suggest that you don't recommend.
Okay.
Don't recommend.
First of all, this is just a placeholder. You know, as you all know, we've got one shot at SRF funding at expiring June 30th, so it's a tight timeline. We get bids from our wastewater project on our current schedule by the end of April. So we'll know if we have enough funding within our 170 million. So this is just a protective article in case it comes in at, say, 172 million, that we can vote at this meeting with the motion, because right now this article doesn't say an amount. So we'd have to put an amount in the motion because you'd have to vote a specific amount to borrow to give us the sufficient amount to maintain that 0% SRF funding.
And if it comes in way under, we
We
just,
don't,
Yeah.
we just pass over this.
Don't borrow that. Yeah.
So the recommendation for you our recommendation to you as a board would be
Not.
to defer a recommendation to
Defer
town meeting.
recommendation to town meetings because
We
you're
are
right.
not needed.
This is to,
we're really hoping we.
so we don't lose 0% financing, which is really important at $170 million.
Oh, boy.
All right,
5A.
but yes, these we can do. The Adopt the Hero Act,
Did
which,
you get Amy? I forgot to.
You want to start with a motion in a second and then discuss?
yeah,
All right, I move we recommend Article 5A, adopt the HERO Act Veterans Exemption Enhancement.
Second.
there's a second.
Second.
All right, so let's discussion.
So Jackie,
Me?
what were you?
I didn't get you the info you asked for.
Yeah, the
that-
breakdown of it.
Yeah.
It just, as long as we have it before town meeting so we can present it,
Yeah.
you know.
So you want to know how much money in what categories?
Well, I think I put it in the summary. I updated this summary.
Oh, good.
The summary gives a pretty good breakdown.
Well, but it, like, people don't know what,
What
you know,
benefit is?
right, what the
Okay.
clauses are and what, like, some are Gold Star, family, some are 10% disability, they get so much, 100% just.
The exemptions
I
go
think
from,
the thing for the town to know is that regular veterans like me.
Right, and me.
Get, and we don't get anything out of
Unless you have
this because we're
disability.
not this, we came out, with all
far,
our
no.
parts.
Yeah, we'll
Unless
get
my
to it
hearing
on me,
starts to
but
go.
I don't know how critical it is.
Yeah, I guess I'd just like to know if somebody
Okay.
asks. So I
the
want to have.
exemptions are between $250 and $1,500, depending
Now.
on the disability. And if you're and forget which is, I think it's a Gold Star. It's 100% exemption.
Mhm.
So I don't think this changes the Gold Star. That's not one of the ones. But the 250 to 1,500 people, of which there are 59 that receive some amount of that, totaling $83,000. What this does, we are allowed, town meeting's allowed to double it up to 100%. This article, I wrote it to bring it on board at 50% because doubling 83,000, this does cost us money in our budget indirectly through what's called our overlay account. So this is utilizing some of the surplus in the overlay account, and doubling it would pretty much dry up that excess. So by going up 50%, we can absorb. And the other piece of this is it also increases annually by the consumer price index. So roughly speaking, 3% a year usually. So every year these exemptions will go up roughly 3%. And so that's, $4,000 or $5,000. So that's something, again, we can absorb that over the next couple of years, but over a number of years, those, 3, 4, then become $5,000 or more $1,000 start to become cumulative, and we'll have to keep adding it to our overlay account, increase our budget. That does impact our tax levy. So it's not tax levy neutral per se, but we can afford to do this.
Right. A vote?
Yep.
Yes, any further discussion? All right, go to a vote to recommend Article 5A. Bob,
Gladly, yes.
Amy,
Aye.
Jamie,
Aye.
Suzanne?
Yeah.
And Jerry is a yes as well.
I thought Bob said, let me guess. I wasn't. what he-
5B, amend the bylaw for business licenses. This one, if my reading this is to make our bylaw consistent with state law.
Yes.
Basically, that's what this is.
Both 5B and 5C are for that purpose, and they've been requested by the town clerk.
So I make a motion to recommend both Article 5B and 5C.
Do
Second.
I have a second? Any further discussion? Okay, this is the vote to recommend Articles 5B and 5C. I was almost going to say C and D. Bob,
You're muted.
you're muted, Bob, somehow.
Yes.
All right. Amy,
Aye.
Jamie,
Aye.
Suzanne,
Yes.
and Jerry's a yes. All right.
To the next one.
5D is the acquisition of utility easement at Thoreau Drive. Being someone who lives on a private road with underground utilities and Eversource comes, says, oh, we can't fix it, and they drive away when nobody has electricity. I understand this one.
This is the legislation that started in 2019. We got special legislation to allow us to help a private road replace their utility. They're going to pay for it, but there's one property owner in the street that has not agreed to an easement. So we're taking the easement. We're not taking the property. We're not doing anything. We're simply going to dig up the road in front of his house and put electric lines there.
Okay.
It's not a matter of not agreeing to, it's just non-responsive, correct?
Not
A
Right.
little different.
Right, but
not responsive.
So I make a motion to recommend Article 5D.
Second.
All right. And this Eversource is laying we're just giving the easement, and Eversource is going to put the pipe, the electric in, and the town and the residents will pay for that.
yes, an approved contractor
Approved contractor can do it.
will do it.
Okay.
And then it'll be turned over to Eversource.
And they,
And yes, all the,
and they fix it then.
we're going to pay for it out of betterments or payments.
Betterments. Okay. Any further discussion? All right, Bob, to recommend.
Yes, absolutely, yes.
Amy,
Aye.
Jamie,
Aye.
Suzanne,
Yes.
and Jerry is also a yes.
6A.
6A is one that I think we can do.
Authorize special, while I'm here.
This was actually recommended by the part-time resident taxpayers.
Of
course.
Is it? All right.
Really?
Yeah, because.
Yeah, Tom
they own
suggested it.
homes.
Right, so if you.
But they have to rent it out year round to
You
someone.
have to rent it out.
Yes, but he also wanted the income added, the income validation added too. This is one piece of that.
All right, I'm going to make a motion and then someone's going to second.
If you were.
Get confused along the way. I move that we recommend Article 6A, authorize special legislation to expand the residential tax exemption to cover properties used as year-round housing.
Second.
All right, any
And now
Yes.
discussion.
discussion on this motion?
And both Provincetown and Wellfleet have it.
So this is a mirror program as what Provincetown
Mhm.
has. Okay.
Basically, it just gives the exemption to a part-time property owner who rents their house.
Rents are out year round.
Apply every year then for it?
It would, yeah.
Yeah,
To show a
you have
lease.
to show the lease.
It also, if, would it exempt the people that are, for instance, if right now they're renting short-term and they are a resident and an owner, but they have more than one property. If
Mhm.
they rent that second property
Yeah,
or
they'd
that
get it on the
third
second one.
property, then they
Right.
would get the exemption
Okay.
as well.
And there's how many of them? Did I see that in here or did I see it somewhere else?
I want to know, when we went through it, we had a number that
There
we
was 80
guessed.
some.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, there's,
It's not that many, I don't think, is
it's
it?
100, the rental registry, the last check was 150 year-round rental properties who may possibly qualify.
So year-round rental properties, but they're not all single-family homes.
No.
That's,
So see, I think it really will be helpful. I mean, it answers that question of the people who are like, well, we own multiple properties, but we can only get the exemption on one,
Exactly.
even though we're renting year round. This will help them
yeah, great.
Well, it's another incentive
to rent year
to
round.
rent year round, and
Awesome.
yeah.
I wanted to do it last year, I remember, but you said,
Yeah.
let's wait and do the RTP first.
Yes, I
Okay.
know.
One
And
thing at a
before
time.
you go, it'll be
And the
on it
Hero Act,
before
we
you
wanted to do
go.
it all last year. Yeah.
All right, do any further discussion on this? This would, if you, what do we have? We have 1,500 residents, of a place. So this would be, basically a 10% increase
They all- yeah.
potentially if they all want to do it and they all show that they have it. Any further discussion? Okay, Bob.
On the idea that it makes it a better situation for full-time residents, even though they're renting, I would certainly say yes to this one.
All right. Amy,
Aye.
Jamie,
Aye.
Suzanne,
Yes.
and Jerry is a yes. Article 6B is the prohibit the application of fertilizer in Eastham that we voted to put on the warrant and give the townspeople a chance to
Wait, is
vote on it.
this
Do I have a
the-
motion?
I thought this was a petitioned article.
No, it's not.
No, it's not petitioned.
Were you not, were you?
Maybe you weren't
We're
here.
here.
I wasn't here.
We decided to put it on the warrant.
Just put it on the
As
warrant,
a petition.
but not necessarily recommend it, just put it on the warrant.
Well,
Okay, so then, okay, or here, what we can make the motion and then have
Yes.
discussion. So, I make a motion to recommend 6B.
Second.
Okay. So this was something that I was gonna bring up that kind of popped in my brain, Jerry, after you had mentioned it. The idea of abstention from petitioned articles because they are not articles presented by the select board, right? And so my thought, I was gonna bring it up later when we got to the petition section, I was gonna bring that up, but seeing as this is essentially that, I was curious what the board's thoughts were on that. Like, since it isn't something that the board recommends, we, as a board.
We didn't generate it.
didn't
We,
generate it.
we didn't generate it. We can, we can
And we
recommend
speak
it.
at Town meeting about it.
Right.
We vote at town meeting about it like everyone else
Right.
because we did not.
Not only that, there have been, the recommendation could be 0 in favor, 5 against, or
Right.
2, 3, or whatever.
Exactly.
We did not, when we took the vote, Jamie, to put it on the warrant, it was the point of let the citizens decide.
Right.
And
Right.
that's basically that's basically what we did.
Yeah, so if this is essentially treated like a petitioned article, it would be my recommendation if the board is in agreement that we treat it as an abstention and then bring it to town meeting for discussion.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I was a little different. Pardon?
it's still our article.
It's still our article in a sense.
Because we
should-
did agree
right.
to put it on,
You
not
voted
have
to
it go
place,
through the
yeah.
We
petition.
voted to place it on. My personal view is this is an article following, Wellfleet passed it or Orleans passed it, Nantucket did. When you go lobby a legislature and say we would like a law, they'll look at you. If one town has it's different from another, say, well, get your act together and tell me what you want. So that's what they're trying here. But as my personal view, looking at this, it's not enforceable. It creates, the way I read it, it's not written clearly, and it looks like any a commercial agriculture can use any fertilizer. A resident has to use low nitrogen and phosphorus organic fertilizer only for food, for growing food, which, and they're trying to get rid of nitrogen and phosphorus, and they're mixing organic in there versus when there's no difference in nitrogen or phosphorus.
Jerry's against it.
I'm
Abstention.
against it. It's not written well.
Right.
It adds more stuff in there. So my recommendation, I would vote no on the recommendation. So
Yeah.
I won't abstain. I will be a no on it for those reasons. And I'm saying this so, because I think potentially the town will vote yes,
Yeah.
but I would like hopefully the legislature to look, oh, somebody voted no, why is it? So here are the reasons why, and maybe you can change it and fix it. But I still think it's not, it's,
Right,
I
the
don't,
title
I
is
don't-
misleading in that it says prohibit the application.
yeah.
It's
it-
really to limit the application.
Right, it
not
limits it.
prohibit.
And I think about it this way, the only other thing I didn't say was EFFI couldn't use fertilizer on those flower islands.
I
If
couldn't
this
use
became-
fertilizer in my flower garden.
And I think
Can't use it in your flower.
I'm in agreement with you. I mean, that was my lean on this anyway. But I still believe with petitioned articles, an abstention makes sense. This is not a petitioned article because the board decided to put it on. So in that case, I am in agreement.
That we should
I'm-
have a vote.
We should have a vote.
Further, but listen, we have 5 of us, so it could be, you don't have to do it at any other discussion on
No.
this.
Yeah, I thought we talked, we had a presentation about the limiting or actually prohibiting the sale of these
Right.
types of fertilizers. But it was up to the homeowner to figure out whether or not they wanted to actually use it. And I was in favor of that, but I think this is impossible to administer.
Yeah.
I don't think
No.
I don't think we can limit the sales.
No.
No, what we did,
I think that's
The state
illegal.
did limit the sales of the plastic bottles. And that was the only way we could even try the
Right.
single-use
Right.
Right.
water bottles. That was the only way we could try to enforce that.
But this is not.
The information in the warrant in our packet from Orleans is that, oh, yes, Orleans Select Board has promised they'll have someone go around and do. East Ham's not, I don't want our police force to become fertilizer enforcers.
Yeah.
It's just not
I
where
think
it's at.
education is.
I agree fully with the purpose of
Right.
this. And we're spending $170 million to get rid of organic nitrogen from wastewater. And so that's where I'm at. Anyway, I'm sorry. Get off my
We'll call the vote.
high horse. Anybody else? All right. So the motion is to recommend Article 6B.
Yeah, we did.
Okay. Oh, we did.
There's a motion and a second.
Keep the process.
Yeah, keep the process going.
Yeah.
So we'll go to a vote to recommend. Bob?
I'm not sure I agree with it, but you can put it on the warrant. I'll say yes to that.
Well, that's
No,
not.
already-
It's already on the warrant. Now the thing's
I
gonna
don't-
see,
Yeah.
what does the select board recommend to the town?
Well, I would say no to the town. I would say this is,
No?
Okay, just yay or
Yeah.
nay?
That's
Yay or
okay.
nay is nay.
Amy?
No.
Jamie?
No.
Suzanne? You can vote. There are 5 of us. We each get a vote. Don't worry about it.
Yes, because the
That's
state
okay.
is just gonna look at it and go, hmm. And if they decided to take it up, it would be in a different format, but it
Right.
sends the message about fertilizer use in the
Right.
community.
Okay. And I would be no. So it's 1-4 on the recommendation excuse me.
Just for the record, I
60.
don't disagree with all of you about it being implemented or not, but I do
agree
want
with doing it.
something like said to the state to be
Yes,
like,
I
hey,
understand.
please do something about fertilizers and pesticides, but no, really.
Yeah.
Gary,
take them
somebody
off
had
the
mentioned
shelves.
that perhaps the title was misleading. This is your article, so you could change the wording if.
But to
Yeah, I guess to limit it, to limit,
Oh, to
Yeah,
limit,
not prohibit.
not
yeah,
prohibit.
there's also a couple
But it
typos.
only
but-
limits it in residential properties. It doesn't
Right.
limit it in commercial properties.
Can we add it authorized
Restricted
special
farms, isn't it just
authorized
commercial
special
farms?
legislation to limit the application of fertilizers on
Residential-
residential properties in East
Yes.
Hingham?
Yes.
do that.
Yeah. if we
It's-
could
Let's
make it
do
very
that. That's good.
Do you want a motion or you guys?
Uh,
First? Okay, thanks.
It's just commercial agriculture, Jackie.
Oh, okay.
yeah, commercial agriculture.
Okay, so just in Eastham properties then? In Eastham?
Residential.
Residential properties in Eastham.
Right,
yeah.
yeah.
And then there should be a period somewhere after bodies, and then there's an of that has two O's somewhere.
Oh, there's, yeah, there's,
Prohibit the application nitrogen and phosphorus.
yeah,
Oof.
all right.
Sorry.
So number 7, Article 7 is the CPA fund uses that have been recommended by both the Finance Committee and CPA. 7A,
So 7A is just the 7A is just an approval
Allocation.
of the
of
allocation.
the allocations.
Okay.
That's, there are
Right. They have their buckets. and-
five buckets. Yeah.
Okay, so I make a motion to recommend Article 7A appropriation and reservations of Community Preservation Act fiscal year 2027 estimated revenues.
Second.
All right. Do I have any discussion? Okay, we'll go to a vote for that recommendation. Bob,
Yes.
Amy,
Aye.
Jamie,
Aye.
Suzanne,
Yes.
and Jerry is a yes as well. Then if you also part of 7B has 6 parts. These are the projects that the CPA committee has recommended.
Jerry, excuse me 1 second.
Pardon?
Just a question. Before we go much further, I'd like to ask a quick question on 7A.
Uh-huh.
Is this something that would have also been eligible for us to vote on line item by line item?
No, it's part of the Community Preservation Act, and
Rules.
that's rules set by the state. So
The state.
the funding allocation was predetermined and voted on.
Well, so
yeah,
each line item,
One.
each line item has a minimum of 10% that has to be allocated to it, except for
Right.
the administrative can be no more than 5%. So the 144 for each of those is 10% of the total revenue. The only other one is the reserve community housing. You don't have to do 10%. You can do more, and the CPC decided that they wanted to do more of those revenues to community housing. So
Right.
that's something that could be, modified on the floor or add a motion
Right.
if there is disagreement.
And the other point, Bob, is that when you add that all up, there's 504,000 that's left over. And that goes into a pot that's kind of the general that
Mhm.
let's say that
Any of the group.
any of them can use, something comes up with open space and they need
Mhm.
a significant amount of money, they can pull some of that 504,000 out. Or if we do things on tea time and they need some funds, further funds in community housing on tea time, comes out of that general pot.
No, I was just wondering if it was eligible for individual votes on each line item, but apparently it's not because of the way the state has set the program up.
Well,
7A,
7B,
7A is the appropriation to each of those buckets.
Mm-hmm.
And then 7B is the projects that
you
will
can vote
draw
up
from
and
each
down.
bucket.
Yeah.
And so if, let's say they didn't get a historical preservation request, the
Mhm.
money still is just there. So they have balances in all of those buckets. So Article 7B is the line by line, if you will.
I got
Of
you.
it all.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you. The projects are individualizing the amounts.
Yes.
Yeah, and then it doesn't say it, I don't think, in the warrant, but CPA committee has balances for each of those reserves
Right.
that they monitor
Gotcha.
throughout the year.
Yeah, they, for example, they can't use any of that 144,000 for open space. They can't pull that money and use it for recreation. That 144,000 is just for open space, and that fund continues on. And then they can draw from it if there's an open space project for, Right, Article 7B, I think we voted on 7A.
Yes.
Yes, we did.
Move-
Article 7B, go ahead, Suzanne.
We recommend Article 7B, Community Preservation Act recommended projects.
Second.
And then you can introduce it.
No,
Sorry.
Right, yeah, no, now these, if we can do it as one, or we can get the motion changed and then recommend each item separately.
I think we could do it as one.
We can do it as one, but I mean, you could, the moderator at the town meeting, if people want to talk about it, can separate the votes out if he
He'll probably
Decide to
do
do
each
it.
one separately.
He might-
prefers to do that.
he tends to do that.
Time I tried to put them all together and immediately someone wanted it separated out.
Yeah,
But I am happy. So in the warrant, it currently shows each project voted on by the Finance Committee and the CPC. But I'm happy to do one vote amongst us to apply to all of them
I'm
unless
fine with that.
anyone has a particular comment.
unless anybody has a problem with that, I don't have any problem with it. I think, yeah, and Bob, if you look at the CPA reserve fund balances in that chart under 7B, you can see open space reserve, recreation reserve, and open space where they're pulling for Herring Pond and some others. They're pulling it all out of the reserve and nothing is coming out of that general pot because it's not as much. So those pots are growing this year.
Okay.
All right, any further discussion? Okay, the motion is to recommend Article 7B in its
A
entirety.
through F.
A through F.
A through F. We'll have a vote. Bob,
That's fine, yes.
Amy,
Aye.
Jamie,
Aye.
and Suzanne?
Yes.
Yes, all right.
I think we should skip all the zoning.
Zoning, we skip 100% because we're going to,
Do citizens petition?
then we have 9 is the petitioned article, which is, yeah, where are we?
Medicare.
Medicare within Massachusetts. We need, just give a motion to recommend it because that's how the motion has to be, and then we can vote the other way. Do I hear a motion to recommend Article 9A?
I'll make a motion to recommend Article 9A.
Have a second?
Second.
Second.
Second, okay.
And so this is where I was saying with any petition articles as a board to.
We can go whichever way yeah, this is, yeah. This is one of those that Jerry Siricel and his crazy view of things. If I don't have authority to do anything on this, why are you asking me to vote on it?
Right, so that's the absent, that's.
Well, it's a
the
it's a petition.
This is a
Basically, You're
petition.
getting the town to sign a big petition.
Right.
Right.
That's all.
So
All at once.
my thought is across the board with petitioned articles, like having the board as a board abstaining because it is not an article brought by the board,
There's,
but
in Brewster, there was a finance committee member who, on a matter of principle, would vote no, I think, on every single citizen's petition because he was like, it's not our purview or whatever. But they still voted and had like the recommendation.
We had someone who did that too. I just can't remember who it
Yeah.
was. Was it Martin?
sounds like Martin.
So,
Did Finance Committee didn't vote on this one, did it, Rich?
Not yet. Doesn't look like it.
We want to think about it?
We want to think on it and we can do it on the 23rd?
we had citizens petitions recently.
We've had citizen positions and there have been votes both on finance and the select board.
We definitely, that
Yes,
RTE one last year.
we recommend it or we don't, we don't recommend it and there've been splits. So they've done it. It hasn't always been, there have been abstentions, but they haven't done it. So.
I think one way you had a positive was, I think something with the nuclear power plant releasing
Oh, yeah, Plymouth, yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty unanimous.
Right. So, you
Right.
know, I don't necessarily, you know, you could abstain from it
Yeah.
if you want, because it's not the purview of the board. But in the past, we have just voted a recommendation and
So it's up to the board, or if you want to vote tonight or.
All right, do you want to do it or you want to hold, you want to think about it, see what finance says and vote on it on the next week? No, let's not. Okay. All right, so I have a motion. Any further discussion on this? Because I have a motion and a second, so we can have further discussion. All right, we'll go to a vote to this, the motion is to recommend Article 9A to the citizens of Eastham. Bob,
I agree, yes.
Aye.
Amy's and I, Jamie,
Abstain.
Suzanne,
yes.
and I will vote, tough to vote no. I'll abstain. I'm gonna vote no, and I just won't do that on that one. Okay.
So it's a
Oh, two.
two.
No, it's a 302.
At town meeting, Jerry, we can speak to the abstention as a no vote if that's our, you know.
Yeah, if that's what we want. You're
Yeah.
right. You're right, Jamie. Hey, listen. Guys did great. One of the only thing to Jackie and to Rich, you have to change the titles. In the end, it has Amy as the chair and so
Oh, yeah.
forth. And there, we gotta
See that?
correct that
Jerry
one.
is the chair, Suzanne is the vice.
And
It might have been an old draft that. he
it's
had.
it's the old draft. One of them has it correct and the other one doesn't.
Yeah, the
There's
new
two
draft
spots.
has it correct.
I just uploaded in the agenda
On the-
packet
go
for
ahead.
today's meeting has the latest as of
Yeah.
this morning.
Okay,
But it's
all right. Listen, I thought we went through a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
Okay, town managers report.
nothing. I led with the big news.
Yes,
We're on the
that's
tip,
great.
so.
Applause.
that's huge.
Any new upcoming agenda items and needed follow-up? Any previous stuff?
The voting.
Date is wrong on,
Which,
the upcoming meeting. It's Monday, April 20th, not 21st.
then give me a second. Is
But,
Monday, April
Oh, I think
20th,
it's-
Patriots Day?
Yes,
Yeah.
it's a holiday, so
So
we
then it's
moved it.
Tuesday.
Tuesday, April
Yeah.
21st.
Tuesday.
Should
Oh,
be
yeah, you
Tuesday.
have right on the beginning of the warrant. Because I wrote it down, Tuesday, 4/21 is the
Tuesday.
pre-town meeting.
Right, because of Patriots Day,
Right.
right.
So
That
it's
is
right
the
there, it's
pre-town,
just not
that's
right
the
on our
pre-town
agenda.
meeting as well,
When is pre-town meeting?
the 21st.
Tuesday,
So
April
our meeting is
21st.
essentially pre-town meeting that.
Correct.
Yes.
Correct.
Are we gonna have other business?
We,
Not usually.
if we don't usually, but if something's up, we can take it up.
We've done pre-town
Some
meeting.
emergency permit that
wasn't
some
done.
restaurant
Yeah.
needs because they're opening the next day.
Yes,
We
yes, I
have,
remember that.
Sam, but not for the past 2 years.
Yeah.
The past 2 years, we've done it as a meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
We used to do it as an additional something.
Right, okay.
And we got 6 people.
So the board knows I will be late to the 23rd meeting because I have a work meeting that I will, as soon as I get out of, I will come right
Next
here.
Monday.
Next
Mhm.
Monday.
That's next Monday,
Yeah,
okay.
so just so the
And-
board's aware.
Just as a heads up, hopefully we'll have the warrant all set, all our votes set, so we don't need a meeting
It's looking.
on Monday, March 30th.
Well,
So
that would be a first to have all Mondays.
Right?
I don't
We've
think we've
never
ever
done
had
it.
every Monday in a
not
month,
all Mondays.
and 5 to boot.
So-
Never had 5.
So do you want to, so you want, just to break the record, you
No,
want to have?
no,
Oh, no,
I don't want to break
okay.
any records.
Just
I
checking.
got 63 days left, Jerry.
Make a motion to-
We got the minutes.
You're counting, no.
I make
Yeah.
a motion
about
to
some
approve the
minutes?
minutes from March 2nd and March 9th regular sessions.
Second.
All
Any
those in favor?
Aye.
further? Oh, wait, time out, guys, on the chair here. Hold on. Any further discussion? All right, Bob,
Yes.
Amy,
Aye.
Jamie,
Aye.
Suzanne,
Yes.
and Jerry's yes. This is mutiny here. Now, Amy, I'll go to you.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second. Okay, we'll have the vote. Bob,
Yes.
Amy, Jamie,
Aye.
Suzanne,
Yes.
and Jerry's a yes. Thank you all.
I liked that move.